Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you about my auto-buy authors. Now, the reason that I have this titled as not really since I'm a minimalist is because I actually don't really buy books. If I can get away without buying a book, I definitely will. And that is because I am a minimalist and I only really have one bookshelf, which I'll just show you right now. That's my bookshelf over there. Because I only have that one bookshelf, I'm not going to buy a lot of books. Number one, because I don't like spending money on a book, especially since I read a lot of thrillers. I'm never gonna reread the book ever again. And I would rather spend my money on other things, especially since I wanna be a stay-at-home mom eventually. And so I just find that buying a lot of books just isn't the right thing for me. I'm not judging anybody that actually does do that. I'm just letting you guys know that you could definitely be a booktuber, you can be a book reader without spending a lot of money on an actual book collection. Now, there are some of these authors that I will actually buy their books, and there are some of these authors that I will try my best not to have to buy their books if I can find them some other way. I know that that sounds a little weird, but I love to use my library system, and so if there's a new book coming out, a lot of the times I will just wait for it to actually come out at my library. I do have a really good system, so they do get some newer books. I might have to wait a little bit, but that's okay with me because I usually have plenty of other books on my TBR. Another thing I do is if I'm not using my library system, now that I'm a booktuber, I actually like to email the publishers of these books and ask them if they would send me a copy to review, and then I would read it and review it and say thank you in return. I also will try and request these books off of NetGalley from these authors. So even though the title of this actual video is like my auto-buy authors, it's kind of like my authors that I will try and get my hands on a copy of their book, whether it be an ebook or a NetGalley widget or a physical copy, as soon as possible. And then if I really can't find it, I will definitely buy their book. After I buy a book, I actually then put it into my book club's library system. So I have an online book club. If you don't know, I have the link down below, and we have something called Book Voyages. And so I will either put it in our giveaway pile list, or most of the time I put it into Book Voyages because then all of my friends can read and enjoy it as well. So the number one favorite author, I would say, or author that I auto buy for is Colleen Hoover. And actually, she is definitely an auto buy author for me. I will buy her books because I already have Regretting You pre-ordered, and it doesn't come out until December. So I did pre-order this book just because I know that my library system isn't as great with getting the Colleen Hoover books in, and I emailed the publishers but haven't heard back from them yet if I can actually get a copy, and so I just went ahead and pre-ordered it. I love Colleen Hoover so much, and she is my all-time favorite romance author. I have almost read all of her books, and I have loved so many of her books. She's probably the only author that I have read the most and given the most 5 stars to, so that's why I'm super excited for her new book, Regretting You, and I think I'm going to love it just like her other ones. The next author I'm going to talk about is Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I wouldn't exactly auto buy all of her books. I would only auto buy her contemporary romance type of books because I have fallen in love with 3 of her books after I do One True Loves and Maybe in Another Life. So if she were to write another book that's like that, I would definitely buy it, or obviously try and get my hands on a copy. Now, if she were to write another historical fiction like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo or Daisy Jones and the Six, I would not. I actually probably wouldn't even read it since those weren't my favorite books. The next author I'm going to talk about is Alice Feeney, and I've read both of her books so far. Sometimes I lie. I actually had one in a giveaway, and I Know Who You Are I received in a giveaway also from Gabby Reads, actually. And I know that Alice is coming out with another book, I believe in 2020. And so of course I think I already sent a publisher an email about it, but if not, I'm definitely asking the publisher. And then if not, I probably would actually buy that book because I really did enjoy her first 2 books. The next author on my list is Blake Crouch, and of the books that he has written, I have read Dark Matter and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I read Recursion, which I actually received an ARC copy because I won it in a giveaway. I gave it 4 stars. And so if he does come out with another book, actually maybe wouldn't buy his depending upon how sci-fi it is, because I would be afraid of me not liking it as much. But of course, like as soon as a new book would come out of his, like I really do want to get my hands on a copy. The next author I'm going to talk about is B.A. Paris, and I have read all 3 of her books. I absolutely loved the first one, Behind Closed Doors, and that's the one that really got me into reading thrillers. And then I enjoyed The Breakdown. I gave it about 4 stars. And then I forget what the last one's called, but that one I think I only gave 3 stars. I know that B.A. Paris is coming out with another book at the beginning of the year, and I've actually already sent some publishers emails about it. I'm really hoping to get a NetGalley widget. I might think about buying that one, but my library was actually really good about getting B.A. Paris books in, so I could probably find that at my library right away. The next author I'm going to talk about is a very new author for me, and it's Jocelyn Jackson. If you didn't know, I read Never Have I Ever this year. I received an ARC copy because I wanted it from a giveaway, and I loved that book so much. Now, I think I would only buy her books if she would write another thriller book, because I know that she's written some, I think it's contemporary is what she's written before, and I haven't read those yet, but if she were to write another thriller book, I would actually probably buy it on the spot, because I loved Never Have I Ever so much, and I feel like she would do a really good job writing another thriller again. The next author I'm going to talk about is Sandy Jones, and I actually just read her second book. I believe she only has 2 books out. One was The Other Woman. I rated it 5 stars. The other was The First Mistake. I received an ARC copy and a NetGalley copy, and I just read this a couple weeks ago, and I think I rated it like 4.5 stars. I really, really enjoy her writing, and again, I would actually probably buy her new book whenever she would come out with a new one, just because I enjoyed both of those thrillers so much, so I probably would enjoy another thriller by her. But I'm really hoping that, of course, I would be able to get a library copy, or maybe even get an ARC copy through my booktube channel. That would be amazing. But I just really, she's becoming a new favorite author of mine. The next author I'm going to talk about is Michelle Campbell, and she's one of those, like, I don't know, like underrated thriller authors, I believe. Like, she writes thrillers, but they're just very easy reads to me, and they're very like relaxing reads. And so I believe I've read 3 of her books. I read It's Always the Husband, I think is what it's called. And then I read She Is a Quiet One. And then I just read Stranger on the Beach. And for all of those books, I gave them like 4 to 5 stars. And so if I've already read 3 of them and I just like enjoy them a lot, I definitely am excited for when she comes out with a new book, and I possibly would think about buying it because I just really enjoy her writing style. The next author I'm going to talk about is Riley Sager, and I actually I read his first book, Final Girls, from the library, and then I bought The Last Time I Lied from Book of the Month, and then Lock Every Door I was just so excited for because I have loved Riley Sager's writing, and I ended up buying it on Amazon because I couldn't obtain a copy anywhere else. And I didn't really like it. I gave it 3 stars. I do still think, though, that if he would come out with another book, I would buy a copy, as long as people wouldn't say that it's just like Lock Every Door. If they compare it to Lock Every Door, then I probably would wait for my library to get it or borrow it from someone, or, you know, maybe if I read it on NetGalley or something. But I've like really enjoyed his 2 other previous books, and so he was a total auto-buy author for me. It was just like Colleen Hoover, where like I could not wait to get my hands on the copy of his book. And then I have one more author I want to talk about, and she's actually a keto author, and her name is Leanne Vogel, and I have bought every single cookbook and book that she has come out with ever. Like, I actually buy cookbooks if I think that the recipes are good for me. A lot of times I will go and look at the book actually like at the bookstore and see if the recipes are something that I would enjoy. But I have bought every single one of her cookbooks, and I have bought her new like Keto for Women informational book, which doesn't have any recipes in it. It's just filled with ways that you can balance your hormones, how keto can heal you as a woman, and I love it. It is one of the best purchases I've made. And so for keto, she's like my auto-buy author. I will buy anything that she comes out with ever, because she just has, she shares so much information in the keto space, especially just for women. And I love it so much. So there you go. Those are my auto-buy authors, or partially auto-buy authors. Of course, since I'm trying to save money and I don't want to have a big array of books, I will obviously try and get my hands on copies of all of these authors' books in a different way. way, but obviously legally, before I would actually like buy a copy of their book. And that's just because of my own personal reasons. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know down in a comment if you would buy any of these authors' books as well, or what some of your favorite auto-buy authors are. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you all in another video. Bye!